All right. Well, welcome everybody to the This Is Your Moment podcast. Today is a special day. Since the rebrand, this is going to be our first guest, just an incredible leader in the community, someone that I'm just truly honored to know, someone who inspires me, and somebody who I guarantee is going to inspire you as well. She's just doing incredible things in her life. She has a huge mission. She is constantly willing and has the courage to step into the arena, put her light out in the world, share her message, share her vulnerabilities, her insecurities, and just own them. And she's inspiring literally thousands of women along the way. Her name is Francesca Agostinelli. Something about that's a tongue twister. It's the ska at the end of Francesca. Francesca, I've had the honor of knowing for a couple years now, and just kind of being able to watch her journey. And until recently, have become friends with her, and I'm able to share life a little closer with her now. And a little backstory about Francesca, so you know her background. Francesca, it was previously in the Monat community, and not just in the community. Francesca was one of the top leaders in Monat, nearly maxing out the compensation plan, getting all those sweet, juicy rewards, but building a community from the ground all the way to having over 1,000 women who followed her in this journey as she taught them, encouraged them, and led them to helping them build their careers, their side careers, bring in income, but also a lot on the personal development front. Francesca is somebody who really puts so much work into herself to continue to grow so she can not only lead herself, but lead others. So, Francesca, I am so stoked to have you here. This is your moment. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, what an honor. Thank you so much. I'm so excited, nervous, of course, but honored to be here.
I'm just excited to have guests on because I feel like it's an opportunity for me to relax a little bit. I don't have to teach. I don't have to have a message prepared. I can just sit here, hear your story, be inspired by you, and interview you. So this is going to be good. I hope you're excited for it.
Pressure's on. I'm ready.
Well, I want to start off. I want to get right into it because obviously the heart of this podcast is to really inspire people to step into the arena, for people to find their gift that God has given them and to really own that and be willing to share that with the world. And so I love interviewing entrepreneurs because I think entrepreneurs just have this hunger and this fire inside them to achieve something great. They're willing to go against the grain and say, you know what? I did the 9 to 5. I just know I was born for something so much more. I want to live a life on my terms where I get to do what I want to do with who I want to do, wherever I want to do it. And probably one of the only ways to build that at a younger age, not having to wait till your 401k is ready to be used, is to take that entrepreneurial journey and follow
Yeah.
that dream. Right. So to start off with you, I want to go into a little bit about your Monet journey, where you were before that. And also, I think it's going to be really cool as you just left Monet to start your own dream and your own
Yeah.
company and your own affiliate marketing company. So we'll dive into that. Tell me a little bit about your story of getting into Monet, where you were before that.
Yeah. So I am originally from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I graduated school in 2019 and I moved to Florida. I felt that was the only way that I had any chance of doing something bigger with my life was getting out of the place that I grew up. So moved to Florida, and as someone who graduates college, you're like, okay, it's time for the big girl job. It's time to do this thing. So I got a job as a marketing and HR coordinator for a recruiting firm. That was like the it of everything. My parents were proud. I was proud. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. I got a degree in PR and communications. So this was kind of in that realm. And I won't lie, for a short time, I did love it. I was getting up every day. I was packing my lunch. I was getting checks every Friday. And so I think you start to love that in the beginning because that's what we're programmed to believe is the right path. And when you feel like you're on that path, you're like, wow, this is incredible. And short lived, about 2.5 months, 3 months in, I'm like, wow. I'm like, I can't do this for another 40 minutes, another 40 years. No one asks you how you are or what you're reading or what's going on. It's just a very systematic, robotic environment. And so I would be at my job looking up work from home jobs, looking up influencer jobs, looking up anything that can grant me more freedom. And a
I want to pause
coworker,
you there for a second because there's already
yeah,
so many good things to unpack there. First of all, when you moved to Florida, did you know anybody here?
no one.
No. Why? Why Florida? And what was that going on inside of you that just inspired you to just take a huge leap of faith like that?
Yeah, I wanted originally to move to Miami. And my dad was like, you're, 21 years old, you're not moving there alone, and you can't afford to live there on your own. So I'm like, okay, let me recalibrate. In the midst of that, I was going through a traumatic breakup. That one person that you were like, oh, this is the one I'm going to marry. Absolutely not. And so I think that drove me to be like, if I don't leave, my old habits, thoughts, and patterns are going to cycle again. So I'm like, I just gotta get out of here. So we had a distant family member that had a house in Riverview, Florida.
Mm.
He didn't live there, but it was a family home. And so that was the only out that I saw that was plausible in a fast enough time frame. I graduated in May, I moved in June, and they weren't there. And so I knew nobody, and I was extremely, of course, sad, scared, but I think it was the excitement of what was next that I was like, I need to know. If I hate it, I can move back. But what if I love it? And what if it sets me free? And I'm like, I just need to know.
It's that what if that I think
Yeah.
is so powerful. I think oftentimes when it comes to so many major decisions that we have to make as humans, major decisions that are going to be life altering, and especially in regards to when you have to let something or someone go, right? We're so scared because our minds can easily calculate what we could lose.
Hmm.
Like easily, we know exactly what we could lose, but it can't see what we may gain.
Yeah.
And that's the leap of faith that we have to take in order to really become the greatest version of ourselves and achieve what we desire, because there's always going to be those leaps of faith. And
Yeah.
that's the whole concept of stepping into the arena. You don't know, but what if?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so fast forwarding, you were at this job and you said you liked it at first. And I think part of what you were just saying is like, okay, you have this structure,
Yeah.
right? Now you have this structure, you know what you got to do, you know where you can thrive and you know it can grow. You finally have that paycheck coming in. Parents are proud. You're using the college degree. And then you hit that point of, I don't think I'm very fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah. I always my whole life loved being the center. I've
Mm,
always been loud. I've always led loud, and I've never shied away from being the center of attention in that manner of impacting people, saying how I feel. And so after a while of that systematic cycle, I just felt like I'm not growing, I'm not reading, I'm not connected to anything. I'm just going in, clocking in, making money, and not enough money for the amount of work, unfulfilling work that I was doing. So
mm.
I had a coworker who saw me, online, and he was like, "You won't believe this." He said, "My friend's sister made $1 million selling shampoo." And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I follow, I'm kind of poking around, and I get a DM from her, and we kind of chat, and I'm like, nah. I kind of watched for about 4 months. In January of 2020, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm out. I'm going. I messaged her. I'm like, whatever we need to do, I'm doing it. We got on a call and she's like, okay, I bought my product pack. And I'm like, if I get off this call, I am not going to buy this. I know it. So just take
Massive action.
take the card. I'll figure it out later. But I know myself. So just do it and then I'll figure it out after that. And that was
That's
the
so so good. I'm gonna stop you there because there's so many
yeah.
things to unpack, and I'm a little fearful that this podcast is gonna take 17 hours now because I just love all of it. I think it just in very similar to my story, getting to that same spot. People don't probably know me here, but I was at 22 years old, had just graduated, got the job, but right before that, I had lost my brother and my father within a 6 month time frame. So I came to a realization of how short life really is when you're confronted with death like that. So when I got this job of making phenomenal money, I mean, it was like 75K. I just graduated with the potential to make hundreds of thousands of commissions. But I have a very similar personality to you. Like, wanted to be the center. I'm very extroverted. I want to be in the energy. And after about
Yeah.
4 or 5 months of being here, I'm like, I am so miserable. I'm not using any of my gifts. This is unfulfilling. It
Yeah.
doesn't fill me up. And really considering my brother and father, my brother was 29 years old, and, I'm
Yeah.
like, is this really all there is to life? Like, I'm going to wake up every single day and come here for this paycheck doing something that doesn't even fulfill me. And it was
Yeah.
at that moment I was like, I'm willing to risk it all, but it's surely not going to be this.
Yeah. I love
But I
that.
want to know what that moment was for you, right? I mean, you've been at the shop, you've been killing it, and you finally made this call. So what was that moment where like, I am done, I'm making this call?
I think it was fear of, I have this FOMO, I think, in me of bigger. And so I think the first time was moving, that fear of what if I don't? And now the second time is I've been asking, searching, looking for an opportunity. And I have a real person on the other end of this phone waiting to give me that. And whether it's right or wrong, I don't care. I just need to know. And I can't wonder 3 years from now, what if I said yes to that girl on the phone?
Mm.
And so I think I have this constant fear or FOMO of not knowing if I can push a little more. My work ethic and my capacity excites me. And so pushing that every time, I think that's where I'm like, I need to know if I can do this. And so I think that's where it came from.
I think there's so much wisdom in that. I remember when I kind of felt that calling to be a motivational speaker, I had to start somewhere. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, what platform do I do have? And it was Instagram. And that was
Hmm.
terrifying to actually try to go on there and do something inspiring and just knowing that it's going to be so cringe. And I remember the
Uh-huh.
first video I ever made was because I heard this quote by Jim Rohn. And he said that if you think trying is scary, if you think trying is risky, wait until you get the bill for not trying. And
Hmm.
this is why I think it's so important to have that vision of the life that you truly desire to live, right? A what if life. If it was my dream life, what would it look like? Because then
Yeah.
you can look at your current situation and where you're at and where you're going and really ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing right now, right? If I did this for the next 10 years, is it really going to lead me to where I truly desire to be?
Yep. 100%.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well then now let's fast forward. You're in Monet. You're at ground zero, right? Or was it Monet? Was that the shampoo company?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Ground zero, right? You have zero people under you. Let's start there. Tell me about that journey of starting.
So, few things. I've always been a hard worker, but I think when you get so excited about a vision or an opportunity or money, you forget that you start at zero. I've
Mm.
never done anything in the social media space at this point. I've never done anything in sales, in marketing. I've done nothing. So, my downfall the first year of my business is I thought I can give a little and gain exponential amount. I didn't make one sale or enroll one person for my first 90 days in my business.
Three
And
months, zero sales. And how
zero.
much were you investing into this business? And by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, Monet is an affiliate marketing company, so multi-level marketing where you can
Mhm.
build people under you. Okay, so how much were you investing? Because you probably had to buy products to stay a part of the affiliate marketing company.
Yep. So one of the main reasons that I love Monat, even to this day, is it is a one-time investment. A lot of other companies, especially network marketing, there's usually a monthly
Right.
investment. I was broke. I was making $500 a week. Investing $200 a month was not feasible. This was a one-time investment where then I didn't have to invest again unless I wanted to.
How much was it for the one-time investment?
199.
Really? Okay. And how much of a risk was that? Making $500 a week. How scary was that?
Yes, scary. The way that I viewed money, spent money, not that scary. I think that's probably
Okay.
why I did it. And I think because, I hope my mom doesn't listen to this, I think because I always knew that I was blessed with if I ever was in a place of I have nothing, I had my parents, they would never let me drown, get evicted, any of that. So I think I had a little bit more cushion than some people in that arena.
Which I think can be a blessing and a curse
Yes.
as an entrepreneur. A blessing and a curse for sure.
Yes, I agree. I think I was trying to do this on my own to prove I can do it on my own. So it was 199. I started. I just was like, yeah, I'm just gonna slap stuff up, do what they say, etc., etc. The thing that I didn't realize or didn't take seriously, maybe is the better word, is I had to change my being, my soul, my character. my values. I needed to actually care about what I was doing in order to make money. And I think for the first year, I didn't understand what that meant or why it wasn't working until I'm like, it was the 6 month mark. And I remember I'm like, okay, Fran, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your mentor's time. So we're either gonna do this or we're gonna tell her that we're just gonna be a loyal customer because we're not doing anything. That's when, middle of 2020, towards the end, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this one full year of me truly giving it everything I've got. And if I hate it or it doesn't work, then I will feel okay to step aside. But that was like the deciding factor. And thank God that I did.
I hope everyone takes note of that, right? Like you got to a point where you said, I am going to set a time period where I commit to going all in and seeing
Yeah.
if this is fruitful. But I think so many of us do what you did in the very first 3 months. I'm just going to dabble, or I'm just going to test it and try it. I'm going to put some feelers out there. And when there's no results, you quit. Right?
Yeah.
And you finally got to that point. And I think this is the biggest thing where you made the commitment to yourself to go all in.
Yeah.
But just backtracking a little bit, you said something so important, and I think this was probably the ultimate game changer for you and your business, as well as for me pursuing a life coaching business and motivational speaking business. Any
Mhm.
entrepreneurial endeavor, is you said I had to change who I was. I had to change my entire being. Can you explain what that means?
Yes. So if there's women listening, which I'm sure there will be, I had so many daddy issues. I had so many insecurities. I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I think I did things and acted certain ways for attention, for validation. I wasn't really confident in who I was. And I think what I wanted wasn't for the purpose of my being or to serve people. What I wanted was the things that serve my ego and my status. And when
Mm.
I realized, like, oh, this is going to take me putting myself out there, but also healing in the same time. If I want to be a big influencer and make a lot of money, I can't do that behaving and thinking the way I do because it's a road of disaster and it's dangerous when you're in that realm. So once I saw all of these women reading, podcasting, journaling, meditating, when they got frustrated, they acted so differently than I did. And I think that was like the flashing light of it's not the business or the products, it's you. You have
Mm.
to change. And I think that was what excited me more. So I'm like, wow, I'll be able to feel rejection without feeling rejected, or feel criticism without internalizing and being like, all of the things. And so I think it was really the start of career, but also start of healing at the same time.
And real quickly, because I know so many people deal with this, when you said you would see women who would go through this adversity, or they'd be faced with adversity, and they would act a totally different way. How were you acting? In the shortest way you can say this, how were you acting, and what did you see in them that inspired you?
Yeah, I think I coped a lot with drinking, but not in a like by myself, etc. But it was always Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm out, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. And if something went wrong, I think it was my behavior of how I acted, how I handled situations, or more than anything, the decision to go out to avoid a situation or avoid the feeling when there was women going through divorce, grief, all of this stuff, and they were working out. They were going to therapy. They were getting together with their business partners. They were journaling. And I'm like, looks harder, but feels better
Mm.
to me. I want to just forget and go party with my friends and like not worry about it, but it feels worse. Their work looked harder, but to me, it felt better. And that's, I think, what I was chasing is I just wanted to feel different.
Well, let's just put this out there and be real right now. If you desire to be great, if you are a leader, if you want to create the dream life, it's the harder path. Like, let's not
Yeah.
sugarcoat that. It requires a lot of work, and not just to work on what you're doing, but to work on yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
Right? I want to like quickly get a high level overview for you on in that process of you becoming and building the identity of this woman that you truly desire to be. What were those things, those pillars in your life that helped you do that, right? So it used to be drinking to maybe numb that pain or to avoid what you were feeling. What are the things that you utilize in your life and your personal development journey that transformed your identity and allow you to end up becoming that leader?
Yeah, I think the first step was I took all of my behavior and I went backwards. Going out. What am I avoiding? X situation. Why? Because it makes me feel X. Why am I afraid to feel X? Well, because this is how I felt when I was 12 and my dad said blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's where we start. And so I think it was working backwards to figure out number one, all of the stuff I'm doing now is not the reason I'm acting this way. So I need to go backwards and I need to start healing there. And so the first step of that was healing my daddy issues, obviously, was healing my insecurities of body, mind, etc. And I think boundaries for me. I never understood how important and integral boundaries are for your sanity, for your health, for your life. And just like you said, when you have parents who are financially stable enough to support you, boundaries start to blur because you need them to live, but you also are trying to be independent. And so it's kind of like, well, without me, no, you do what I say because my money. And so setting those boundaries of like, no, no, I'm not down here and you're up here. We're both right here. And all of those things I think collectively allowed me to start to let go, allowed me to be like, okay, I'm feeling whatever. Let me call someone. Let me go for a walk. Let me go for a drive. Let me do something that is different than what I would normally do. It might not be the perfect thing, but it just needs to be different. So I
Right.
can tell my brain that we're trying something different, and then it will be more open, less resistance until I find the right flow of how to work through things.
Yeah, pattern interrupt. Pattern
Yeah.
interrupt is, just breaking the self-sabotaging cycle. And I think one really great way to do that is because you can shift your identity. Like a lot of who we are is based on the programming we have and our
Mm-hmm.
subconscious beliefs of who we were told are and how we were raised and how we grew up. That can all change. Right. And what
Yeah.
I've come to realize is that our actions will always be in alignment with who we believe we are. And so I think it's really important that we get clear on the woman or the man we really desire to be and know we are. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you have that vision, right, you'll have new standards for yourself. You'll have new values, right? And you can get a
Yep.
really clear picture and kind of have it as a litmus test for how you're acting in your life. Is the actions I'm doing and taking and the things that I'm doing in alignment with who I really desire to be, in alignment with where I want to go?
Yep. Absolutely.
So I guess to put it this simple, it does require doing the deep work and the hard work. A good quote is, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Right? If you go out drinking and just
Yep.
numb it and keep taking the easy path, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, you do the deep work and the personal development, eventually your life will be much easier.
I agree.
Cool. So you said 3 months, you didn't make a sale. You did all this inner work. You did it for about a year. What was the launching point where things just took off for you?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me was I started to understand, okay, stop worrying about money. Stop worrying about enrollments or sales. Worry about skill and value. That's it. Better skills, more value will get me what I want. And so all I cared about was, how do I get better at sales? How do I get better at marketing? How do I get better at human connection? And now how do I put that out to social media? And then that, probably about 3.5 weeks of doing that, is when it just started to just go off.
And when you say go off, what did that look like?
It went from me just enrolling people to now everybody enrolling a lot of people.
Talk numbers. Where were you financially at that year? And then let's say in those next few months, how did the finances change?
Yeah, so I think I was maybe making like $500 or $800. Now, mind you, I left my job making like $200 a month.
In money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is it. I'm good. Let's roll. But at that time, about 500, 800, and then it started skyrocketing. Then it started going 1800, 2500, 3800, 47, 5, 7,
You're talking
85.
about a month,
Yeah.
up to 8,500 a month. Wow.
8500. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what is going on? In 2021, I'll never forget, I was the promotion before you could qualify for the car. My total sales in April were like only 17,000 as a whole. I enrolled, I hope she's listening. I enrolled a rock star named Lindsay Marcus. She was 18. She turned 18 April 2nd. She enrolled May the next month. My volume was 48,000. We got the car. Her organization enrolled 60 people. Just that alone,
She started and went 0 to 60.
it was mind blowing.
Shout out to
And
Lindsay Marcus. I got goosebumps. That's
Lindsay,
amazing. 18
um,
years old.
and you know, at 18, when you make a check for $4,000 in your first 30 days in business, you're like,
Game changer.
wait, dude,
Yeah.
stuff's going down.
That'll make
And
college look stupid real quick.
right. And so that was really just like, I think the click on of, okay, we're doing this thing. We're going to ride this thing out. And I had two of those strong, strong organizations. And now everybody else was doing great, you know, but there was two women that just lit it up. It was so beautiful to see. And then they started doing it with their sisters and their mom. And I was like, oh my God. Like, people are texting me saying they're paying for their mortgage. They're like calling me, bawling their eyes out. I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever felt in my life. And I think
Mm.
that was the feeling that I think now addicted to is the money for me is cool. I know I'll make money, whatever, doing whatever I do. But it's like, how do I repetitively find the feeling of impact in people's lives where I'm like, oh my God, I feel your life changing forever, your being. And I think so many people will live their life never experiencing the ecstasy of joy. And that is what they felt. And so now every day I'm like, who's next? Where are you? And how can I just get you to feel it once? Because if you feel it once, your life will never be the same.
If I could zoom in on my arms right now, you would see all the goosebumps. That's just super inspiring. And I want to say this to everybody that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. If your objective to do what you're wanting to do is simply for financial gain or it's all about you, you will never have that fulfillment.
Yep.
There's just something so gratifying in being part of somebody else's testimony and being part of their breakthrough and being able to transform and change their life, knowing you're a part of that, that fills you with so much joy and so much love. And when that's your heart and intention, the money will find you. I
Yeah.
promise you. That is just universal law. That is just law of attraction. Give, and it'll be given to you 100-fold.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. So you ended up what kind of car did you get? You won this car from what you were doing.
Yep. So the car program is once you reach that promotion, you've got to stay there. So for anyone who doesn't know, you have a month. So in that month, if you reach the number of sales, great. But on the first, you go back to zero. So you have to do that 3 months in a row to qualify for the car. So we did that 3 months in a row. And then the Cadillac, it's a white Cadillac. We picked it up, we did the thing. It was, I think for me, probably until the beginning of this year, I was someone who truly based my success off of recognition and reward. That was my like public testimony that I am who I say I am, even though I didn't need the car to know that. But at that time in my life, when I've never made that much money, I've never felt how I felt. I'm like, okay, how can I show people that I'm doing this, that it's working, that it's real? And so the car, it's amazing. It's beautiful. I love her. But yeah, I picked up the Cadillac after that, and then it was still doing the same thing every day.
I want to just rewind really quickly because I know a lot of the women who may be listening, to hear your story are in those beginning stages. And you said that when that takeoff happened and you just blew up, there was some things you changed strategically. Obviously, the identity shifted, but when you said you started adding value, can you just like explain what that actually meant tactically?
Yeah.
What did you start doing differently, like with your content or whatever it was?
Yep. I truly tried to understand, learning, I should say, how to put out content without expecting anything in return. Most of the time in sales, people put out content for a sale, for a lead, for something in return. I was trying to condition my brain to give as consistently, as long as possible, with zero expectation. I wasn't putting it out to take, I was just putting it out to give. And if I can give longer than anybody, I will be rewarded bigger because I'm not doing it for me. I just tried to provide as much value, meaning whether it was tips, education, tricks. I started getting super vulnerable. I have this saying, I know you've heard me say it, but I came up with this saying that transparency is a trend. And as much as it hurts me or is embarrassing or shameful for me to share certain moments, I felt like it was a missing piece for me to connect with more people. As you get more successful, sometimes you forget how you felt in the beginning of this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, strength, I can connect with people who are where I am, but struggle, I can connect with people who are where I was. And I think that to me was a recipe for massive impact. And
Mm.
so that's when my social media started to take the growth because I started sharing more of not things that I've already overcome and I'm celebrating, things that I'm currently trying to heal from, unlearn, and grow into.
In the words of Jim Rohn, if you help enough people get what they want in life, you'll have everything that you want.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Now I want to ask you a question because I know one of the most challenging things to be someone who has a voice when you want to or begin to share your light with the world is you are going to be confronted with yourself. And what I mean by that is you are going to be confronted with the shadow side, your own insecurities, your fear of not being good enough, your fear of rejection, your fear of failure, what other people may think about you, which ultimately is just a reflection of your own judgment, but is a very real thing. Especially if you've heard the
Yeah.
term imposter syndrome, where when you start out, you really feel like a fraud, you feel like a fake, and these questions of, oh, who am I and who's going to listen to me? Right. So these fears are very, very real and something we have to battle. What allowed you, because you speak about being vulnerable and being authentic, and that's very scary. I mean, you're opening
Yeah.
yourself up for them to look inside you and share your pains and your weaknesses and your fears.
Yeah.
What gave you the strength and the courage to be willing to do that? What did you have to believe?
Yeah. Two things. I think the first thing is I always tell myself, and I train on this, that trauma is not my template. Living my life based off of a template of trauma is not fair. When people come to me with imposter syndrome, the thing that got me out of that was you feel imposter syndrome because you're trying to be someone else and you don't like that, but you also don't like who you are, or you wouldn't be trying to be somebody else. And so, me learning that I have to truly love who I am and give myself grace in a period of learning and being new, understanding and not fluffing around the fact that I suck. That's okay. I'm okay with that because the faster I can admit that I suck, the faster I can get good to be great, to be exceptional. And so I think it
Mm.
was learning that you've never done this before, Francesca. You're okay. You're learning. And the biggest thing is, I believe that shame thrives in silence. And so the more that I talked about what I'm learning, and the more people commented and said, oh my God, me too, feel the exact same way, you're not alone, that shame trigger lowers.
Mm.
And
Right.
now I'm like, okay, it's not just me. I'm okay. I'm not alone. And I think that was the slow build of I'm just normal. I'm just a normal person learning how to build a business, learning how to have a voice and healing. And it's okay that it's not exceptional or that people don't agree. And I
Right.
think that was like the opening my mouth, I think brought me a lot of peace.
Right. Just so everyone knows, like it's inevitable that we go through this process.
Yeah.
It's one of the barriers to entry to having a voice and stepping into the arena and building something great. Like you are going to go through this experience of the insecurities and the imposter syndrome, but I encourage you and I promise you that if you don't give up and don't get tired and don't give in, eventually in due season you will reap a harvest and you will
Yes.
get to where you're wanting to go and all of that will subside. And I really resonated with you because for me, what allowed me to overcome that was really beginning to truly understand that what I was doing was much greater than just myself.
Yeah.
It's not about me. There was other people. And for me, that was, one day receiving a DM, from an older gentleman that I ended up meeting up with him. He said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I was going to commit suicide on Christmas Eve. I was in the lowest place in my life. And then I saw your video and heard your story. And after everything you've gone through, if you can still have this much courage to be willing to step into the arena and be a light, then I can too." And after that moment, I was like, dude, if I let my insecurities and my fear of judgment hold me back, other people suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone listening, if you don't do what you're going to do and what you were called to do and find that courage, it's not just you who suffers.
Yep.
It's other people who suffer.
I love that.
I love that for you too. And so let's get to the end here now. So now you've built this Monat thing. You said you were within the top 3 of the highest compensation you can get. What does that look like financially, if I may ask? Like what kind of numbers were you bringing in there?
Yeah, so there is basically 3 promotions. They're called director that I was going for. So I would say, depending on the month, if you guys know network marketing or MLM, it fluctuates a lot. On months that it was super good, it can be anywhere from 8 to 11,000. On months that it was low, it can be anywhere from 5 to 7. I think the thing that started to maybe be planted is if I'm not always on, and we're as a collective not always on, the income is going to be drastically
Mm,
different. For me, that was not a problem, but I think it caused me a lot of anxiety because there was, yes, I guess a number that I never went below, but the gap was starting to get too big in fluctuation. And again, there are some people, I have a really good friend, her name is Abby. She's at like the 5th rank, makes multiple 5 figures a month. So it's hard to really tell the rank equal to the money
right.
because if you do a lot of personal, you can make 5 figures just you. So it ranges, but yeah,
I feel like what you're trying to say is, if anyone's read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad or understand the cash flow quadrant, it's really creating a system and a system that is not contingent on you being a part of it to continue to operate and continue to thrive.
yeah,
Right. So like right now you are a business manager. Like you have to be there in order for your business to survive. But then when you transition to becoming a business owner, you could travel for 6 months and that system is still going to push and pump and will still continue to grow without you being there. And
yeah,
I think that's where you get to the stage of incredible wealth and a whole new level of the
yes,
game.
I
And
agree.
so we already 41 minutes in, so I want to get to the juiciest part of this. You have just left Monet, right? And to
Ooh,
because you felt called to start your own business, to really pursue creating that system for you. I want you to share one why you left Monet, like why you felt called, maybe what was going on there, and you obviously had this heart murmur within you that was nudging you to step out and to do something different. And then what did you just create?
yes. About the last 6 months, January to June, I had that conversation with Cody multiple times.
And Cody is your boyfriend.
Yes, Cody's my boyfriend, where I'm
We'll
like,
talk about him in a bit.
I don't know, babe. I'm like, it's not making sense. I'm like, after almost 3.5 years, the amount of time and work that I still have to put in to make the income, I don't feel it like I felt it. In the interim of those feelings, I didn't act on it. I started something called Coaches Calling. That was a community that I wanted to create for free that I could help train women in network marketing that weren't financially connected to me because I saw this gap of women that are wanting leadership, but they're wanting connection more. So I started that. That was great. And I think that distracted me a little bit. Then May is when I'm like, okay, I just don't feel it. So I started dabbling in a little bit of e commerce. That was my first ever decision to do anything other than Monat. So I started dabbling, I started posting, we made great money, we still do it on the back end, and that is where the shame, hate, humility started to come into play. And I'm like, wait, what? If you guys don't know, when you are affiliated with something that you believe is your life, that you have sold your family, your friends, your partner, you are in it, the
Mm,
people in that company feel like your family. And
that's deep.
so disappointing them or you thinking that they don't like you now is heart wrenching. But even then, I'm like, I need to see, I need to keep going. As more lack of transparency came out, I was just pushed more and more I was right. My intuition, my gut felt right. And so then I started affiliate marketing. That is when the tsunami came in hot.
So yeah, when you say affiliate marketing, I've watched this with you and Cody recently because obviously this is a different type of affiliate marketing. You were
Yeah.
starting to do some affiliate marketing for multiple various brands. I mean, some top brands that we're all familiar, just kind of
Mhm.
representing their products. And as I've watched your stories and your journey, it seems like you've been making multiple thousands of dollars doing some of this work on the side.
Yeah, it has been life changing. It has allowed us to create Bella Beauty, which I'll get into in a second. It's allowed us to pay for very famous speakers for Coaches Calling. We made 10,000 in our first 30 days of
Insane.
doing
Can we
this.
just stop there and let everybody know that is listening to this and feels like they're stuck? You are not stuck. You're not stuck. That is a mindset. There are so many opportunities, right? Like, look for the opportunities that are out there. And if you can't find one, create one, but you're not stuck. I mean, Cody and Francesca have now been making tens of thousands of dollars finding an opportunity to do affiliate marketing. And I promise you can too.
Yeah, and so as I started posting that, it just set people off. The amount of screaming matches I've gotten into, the amount of messages, shade, hate, and I went through it for 4 weeks where I was crying every day, every other day. And I think, you guys, the biggest thing is when you have a lot of people that you care about and you thought cared about you, it's extremely difficult to have to feel like you have to choose them or trust yourself.
My
And
goodness.
I felt like I don't know what to do. It's so painful, but I have to. I have to trust myself. And I have to know that I can do this. And that's what I did. For me, the point of terminating my account was if there was no way to ridicule me or come at me or really be associated with me, it will stop. Because if I'm not in the company, then we shouldn't be talking. You shouldn't have any access to me, my energy. And so that was a decision that I made. And biggest thing I can tell you guys is when you make a decision to end something like that, you have to grieve a dream. You have to grieve
Mm,
the vehicle that you thought was going to get you there. And something beautiful that came out of it is the dream is still the same. The goal is still the same.
that's right.
I just let go of the vehicle I thought I needed to get there. That brought me a lot of peace. But I think more than anything to our mission, yours is similar, is I saw so many people make decisions for their life because I went first.
Mm,
And those people now are stepping into such a creative space, a purposeful space, their lane. And if I have to go first for everything, I will if it means that I get to help them feel free. And I think that was
oof.
the point of it is God was like, you go. It's going to be tough. You've got to go
Oof.
first.
And
And I think that
goosebumps.
was the point.
What you just said is so beautiful there. Leaders create leaders, and that's so evident. But what you just said there was the ultimate leadership statement that if I have to go first, I'll bear the burden and I'll do it for them. That's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just want to honor you in that moment to have that much courage to leave Monet, to leave a six-figure career, to leave leading 1,000 women to follow your heart. That that's something. That's amazing. And it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage, and I commend you for that. And I
Thank
think
you.
that you probably found out very quickly on who's actually for you and who actually truly loves you unconditionally when you terminated that account and walked away, and how many women were still following you and how many weren't.
A lot. Cody actually asked me this a few days or a week ago, maybe, and he said, "What makes you emotional? Do you not want to do this other stuff?" And I said, "No, it's not that. Everybody told me that there are going to be people in your life that only are your friend because of the value that they can take from you." I said, and I just didn't think it was going to be that many. I thought a lot of those people would have loved me unconditionally and supported regardless because they valued my character. And that is the thing that I think, even now, that I'm healing through. It's hurtful to see people no longer support you when you thought they were your people. I still celebrate and post my friends in Monat because I'm not here for only supporting women who win if they benefit me.
Mm.
I want all women to win, regardless. That is what was the most hurtful is I thought we had this thing where we want everyone to win. We want all women to win. And now all of a sudden, nobody wants me to win because I'm not doing what you guys are doing. And I think that is where the healing is. The business, the money, the hate, whatever, that's just the territory that comes with being a leader. I think it was the human connection that I misread that I think is the most hurtful.
Yep. I think one thing to take away here for everybody listening is that your dream and your next level will most always come with a sacrifice and a price to pay and a
Yeah.
cross to bear. There will always be a burden that comes with it, but the reward for taking that path is far greater than people who never do. And you said earlier that
Yeah.
when you had to make that leap, you had to let go of who you thought you were to become who you truly desire to be. And so my question for everybody here, regarding a
Yeah.
sacrifice is, what do you have to let go of? And what are you willing to let go of in order to become something greater? Right? Because at the end of the day, why be normal when you could become extraordinary? Right. Okay.
I
So,
agree.
let's wrap this. Let's take this last 10 minutes here to talk about this new journey. I'm super excited for you about. So you have just launched essentially like what, like your own little Monet, like your own affiliate marketing company. Is that what we're doing here? And you have just launched this week. Tell me about what you're doing.
Yeah. So Bella Beauty is a skincare consultation service. No products. It is holistic nutrition, hormone health, and then skincare. And so it is extremely different from representing a brand to owning being a brand in the best way. But yes, we did also launch an affiliate program. It opens officially September 1st as far as the affiliates, but applications are open right now. So we launched last Thursday. We have over 60 applications already to be an affiliate, which is crazy, beautiful, amazing. It is the most freeing, humbling, for sure, experience ever. But that moment of launching and how much support and love it got was a testimony of like, you had to. You had to be here. I always write in my journal like it was worth it. And I would do it all again if it brought me here. And so yeah, we're new. It's only like 2 weeks old or a week old, but it has been exceptional. And to build it with my soulmate and to have it be a legacy to my parents, I think is the real start of our life, and a tribute to them. So it's been awesome.
And when making this launch, I know you were kind of sharing this with me when you first told me about it, but
Hmm.
you kind of had some curiosity on if anyone would follow you and how this would begin. And as you've launched now, how many people have really onboarded and are excited for this opportunity?
When you are always tied to a company, you never really know if they're following you because of who you are or if they're following you because of your affiliation with the company. And so my biggest fear was like, no one is going to follow. No one's going to think this is a good idea. This is going to flop, but I'm going to do it anyway
I'm
because
gonna do it anyways.
I'm
Let's
going to do it.
go.
I'm like, if it flops, I will make it not be a flop. Then to that surprise, so many people were like, how do I be an affiliate? What do I do? How do I work with you? What is this? And I was like, oh my God, it was me. It wasn't the brand or the company or the money. It was just me and who I am. That was is now the driving force of me just being exactly who I am and just trusting that that's enough. But so many people, and I think the coolest thing is strangers, honestly. Strangers being like, oh, I just found your page and your TikTok and I just applied to be an affiliate. I can't wait. I hope I get accepted. It's much different knowing that it's yours and they want that from something that's yours.
That's so good. You never know who's watching. You
Yeah.
never know who's watching, which is why having integrity is so important. Just doing everything you can to stay in alignment with your highest self on the camera and
Yeah.
also off the camera. Well, that's incredible, and something so exciting that you guys are launching. I mean, this is just what a launching pad for you, a friggin' rocket ship about to blast off. But you're hosting an event, right, in Fort Lauderdale next year.
Yes.
Tell us what you created and what you're bringing together, because what you're creating is massive.
Yes. So as you guys know, in my time frame of kind of questioning what I was going to do with money, I created Coach's Calling, and I was like, Cody, I hope this has like 20 or 50 people. Like, how crazy if there was 50 people in here. And in 3 months, there was over 200 people of different companies, different industries, different places in the world, France, Australia, Canada. And I'm like, oh my, okay, what do we do? And so we had a mini conference. It was like impromptu, May of this year. There was like 20 people. It was incredible. I'm like, let's do a real one. Let's plan it now, have enough time. And that's when we came up with it, Fort Lauderdale. And I'm like, what if we get famous leaders? Cody's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, no one's going to answer, but let's just do it anyway and see if we get any responses. And we got responses. And I'm like, oh my. Again, not connected to a company. It's just me and Cody. These people are saying yes, they want to speak. What do we do? What do we do? What do we say? And so it is 500 people is the max. And Daniel G, Jesse Lee, a few other that we can't mention yet because we want to roll it out as a surprise. But it is going to be just another moment of, I think, God, literally, of feeling like, oh, wow, this is like real life. And bringing people together over not a common industry or company or income, but over a common mission and purpose. And I think that just is going to create such an environment of ecstasy that we're super excited for.
I think something I pride myself in telling people I am is a delusional optimist and a dreamer. And I love that you and Cody are both also delusional optimists. And I think that if there's anything someone can take away from that, it's one, having trust and faith into that inner voice and when God is leading you somewhere, because it's always going to be scary. It's always going to require a huge risk, right? And a leap of faith and a jump. But also just remember that closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Be willing to have the courage to just ask.
Yep, always.
And so I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of Cody for everything you're doing and for the leader that you are. And we'll finish this up because we've spoken about Cody so much, and I've had the honor of knowing Cody for a few years now. I love Cody. I've had the opportunity to be able to pour into Cody and to really see his gifts and the calling that God has on his life and his leadership and the light that he has. And he's attended a lot of the leadership groups that I've hosted every week and the Bible studies. He faithfully shows up. He always has amazing energy and is just hungry to learn and keep growing. And the reason I want to bring Cody up is because I am so inspired by the relationship that you two have. And I know I really shared this with you last week and just edified you two. But the fact that both of you have come together and you have such similar passions and purposes and callings and a similar faith and a similar desire, you two just fuel each other. And I think for everyone in here who maybe doesn't have a relationship, or if you do have a relationship, right, because I really utilize Cody and Francesca as a way to filter my relationship and be like, whoa, is what I have now really what I want? Do we have the same mission? Are we going on the same place? And are we really going to help each other fulfill our life's destiny and our calling, or are we going to be a distraction that pulls us away from perhaps everything we were born to be? And so how important do you think it is? How important has this whole process been, having Cody by your side? And how important has it been to have such similarities in your missions?
Yeah. Anyone who knows me knows I always tell people I believe that Cody is literally experiencing heaven on earth. Like, he came into my life at the perfect time of me not only needing a friend or a partner, but Cody led me back to God. Like, when I met Cody, I was obviously in church growing up, but I could never understand what people meant when they're like, I feel X. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I don't know what you're
Mm.
talking about. Like that. And so I didn't go, obviously. And so when I met Cody, obviously he's very deep into his faith. And I'm like, I just don't feel what you feel. Like, I don't get it. And so he introduced me to a pastor named Stephen Furtick and changed my life forever. And we watch it every Sunday. We have our devotionals and we do all this stuff. And it's crazy because now he's like, if you could see yourself 3.5 years ago, you would be mind blown. And so I think more than anything, friend, partner, I think he played a huge role in my life of making it possible for me to feel my faith. Instead of just saying I have it and like tricking my brain, he's allowed me to feel what that feels like. It's been integral to our mission because when we came together and we really started to get serious, we both said, like, if you don't want XYZ, there's no point to this. Our individuality is a non-negotiable for him and I.
Mm.
Yes, we can do things together, but I need both of us and he needs both of us to still be our own. Everyone knows the saying, the other half, my other half. I don't want him to be my other half. I
So
want
good.
two wholes coming together.
Hey, say it louder for the people in the back, please.
Yeah. The whole he's my other half makes me sad for women because that
Right.
means that you're not
And men.
whole by yourself.
Right. Yeah, I will say that I've come to realize that there's a void in our heart that can never be filled by another human being. So many relationships fail because of codependency, because we look to another human being to fulfill us and fill that hole. And that hole can only be filled by God, and really
Yeah.
connecting and finding self-love and love through God.
Yep.
And when you have two people that come together in a relationship that are already whole, the mission is no longer two people looking at one another, but two people looking face forward on the path, on the mission, on their pursuit of knowing God and also their higher purpose. And you
Yep.
become unstoppable. It's truly a partnership. And for
Yeah.
me, it's been, now I know in my future moving forward, because I ended up breaking off that relationship about 2 weeks ago after getting all this clarity. And I know how to filter that moving forward
Yeah.
and exactly what I'm looking for. So, Francesca, it's just been such an honor to hear your story. I now know, after having my first guest on this rebrand, that I'm going to probably have to prepare for an hour. It's not going to be 30 minutes. I just love this so much. I love hearing your story and diving into this and hopefully adding so much value to people's lives. And I'm so grateful for you. And I'm excited to watch your next season of life unfold for both you and Cody, and know that such amazing things are happening. And we'll be seeing you on those stages. And 10 years from now, your name will be recognized amongst a lot of women and a lot of men as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think it's been amazing. I think we all have similar missions, and what you're doing and just allowing me to share to your audience. I think we're creating something super powerful that will last. So it was awesome to be here.
And if you had could put one sentence to share your message with all the women who are listening, one piece of advice, one encouragement, what would you say?
I would say the most fulfilling thing you can do is creating something or being someone who makes people feel seen and supported and heard. And everything else that you want will be a byproduct of making people feel that way.
I love it. I would just encourage everyone who's listening to just be willing to chase the dream, be willing to leave your mark, be willing to share your gifts with the world, and be willing to take the leap. Be willing to take the leap of faith and pursue your heart's desire.
Yes,
So, Francesca, thanks for coming on. As far
absolutely.
as this new season, your new company, your new event, this is your moment.
Yes, it is. I'm excited to share with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yes. If you like this episode, please, if you've listened to this far of the episode and you're an hour and 5 minutes in, send us a DM. I want to know who the real ones are. We appreciate you. Please go to the podcast as I'm beginning to build this journey in my career as well as in podcasting and speaking. Leave it a comment, share it with a friend if you gain value. And I'm just appreciative and honored you're here. And with that being said, we love you guys. Wish the best for you, praying for you. And this is your moment. Get out there, go do it. Take it easy.
Bye, guys.